Hello!
Hello!
Welcome to Reality Check, where we decode the drama, debunk the myths, and deep dive into mental health matters portrayed on the screen. My name is Selena, and I'm a licensed therapist.
And my name is Jacqueline. I'm her friend.
Yay! And welcome! Welcome! So, we are on the final episode of Season 1 of The Bear, kind of decoding, debunking, and deep diving into this episode. This is episode 8 of season 1. This one was a doozy. Do you want to recap what happened in this episode?
Yeah, I can't wait. It's so fresh in my mind.
I literally watched it like 5 minutes ago.
I know that was what I was getting at. Yeah, so season 1, episode 8, it starts off with he's in a dream, almost like a TV show, like a cooking TV show. And this is shortly after he pretty much told the entire kitchen staff to. Are we cussing?
Yep.
Okay. He pretty much told the entire kitchen staff to fuck off. So this is where this dream is coming from. He's having a dream that he's realizing that he is alone. He doesn't have anyone there to prep his meals, to prep his utensils, get everything ready, because he's sitting there and he goes, "Where's my so-and-so?" And he's like, "Where are they? Where is it? Anyone?" And no one's answering. It also, if you really pay attention to the flashbacks, it takes him back to him seeing the bear. It also has Michael's voice in it, of Michael saying over and over and over, "Let it rip, let it rip. The bear, let it rip. Little bear." You know, all these things that you can think of. He's just saying it. And then as it goes on, Carmy is in the Al-Anon meeting, and he opens up. He opens up a lot about Michael and about why he's struggling and all he, what he ever wanted from him. And just a little bit of it, we'll take a deep dive into it, but just like a brief one. He talks about how he never has friends, how he had problems growing up, how he didn't really know his brother. But it sounds like Michael was the complete opposite of him. Michael had the friends. Michael didn't have the problems. Michael was an easy guy to get along with. My favorite quote that he said is, Michael was the type of guy that everyone thought was his friend. He was just that magnetic. And then it moves on to Sydney opening up about her life when she is randomly cooking for Marcus, which threw me for a spin. And after Carmy, it goes to Sydney and Marcus talking about, well, Sydney's cooking for him, and Sydney talking about her life and a little bit about what she's gone through and what she went through, and just kind of where she started and where she's at right now. So it gives you a different perspective of her. Marcus, being Marcus, doesn't really talk a lot. He uses the same words I think we've always heard, is heard, I feel ya, and I get it. Man of little words.
Not much
then as a
time.
Right. Then as it goes on, Tina checks in. It goes to the kitchen, and Tina checks in on Carmy. But I don't know if she's saying Jeff or Chef.
Chef.
Because
Spanish, she's saying chef.
Well, because my I like to watch TV with the words at the bottom. And the words at the bottom, when she says chef, but when she says Jeff, it says Jeff.
Who's Jeff?
I don't know.
I think that might be a she's definitely calling him chef.
Are we sure? Because I looked at her lips and it says she's saying Jeff.
Yes, because she is a Spanish accent. English is her second language, I imagine. She's not saying Jeff. Who the fuck is Jeff? Who the fuck is Jeff?
We'll find out. Maybe Jeff is something.
No.
Okay.
Anyways.
Don't believe auto captions. So then as it goes on, Richie, This is a big aha moment for Richie that I think we've all waited for. They had to have a bachelor party due to cousin Cicero or uncle, and Richie opens up about Michael, and he feels like he should have done more because he admitted that he knew he was on drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And the name Richie called Mikey was Mikey Bear.
Mm-hmm.
Like the bear.
Cute. Mikey Bear.
But Richie saved Carmy's life because Carmy's getting his ass beat, and Richie, being Richie, just cold cocked that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Violence with no awareness.
yeah, and then Carmy was there for him in the end. We'll talk about Richie's one phone call when we go back and talk more in depth on this. But Carmy was there in the end. Where do you get the bail money? Parachute. I don't know what that means, but
Our 2-week
parachute.
parachute. It's like a 2-week emergency fund. Gone for the restaurant. Used it on Richie.
Family's family, I guess. So he did that. And then Richie gave Carmy the note.
Mm-hmm.
And that note had a lot in it with very little words.
Said, let it rip.
We wanted to say what it was.
Sure.
And the spaghetti.
Mm-hmm.
The spaghetti that saved everything. And I believe in that money. He got his 2-week parachute back.
Oh, and then some.
Mm-hmm. And then the very end of it, the bear.
Yeah. They're closing the beef and opening up the bear.
Yes.
With that money.
About time they did a circle. All right, let's start at the beginning.
Let's start at the beginning. First,
That was a lot.
That was a lot. There was so much that happened in this episode. First, I feel like with this episode, I feel more confident in giving Carmy a PTSD diagnosis because he's having nightmares. He's dissociating with the fire. Like, that was a really scary moment. That could have been awful. His anger, right? Like the nightmares and the dissociating in real life, like, are glaring things of like huge PTSD is probably happening. We don't know enough about his inner dialogue to give him a full diagnosis, but just what's on the surface, what we're seeing on the screen, looks very much like PTSD. So I'm going to start with his dream. There's a lot to unpack with Carmy here. I want to start with his dream of his reality TV show of like things are disappearing, things are out of his control, he doesn't have what he needs, and then everyone is laughing at him. And he's like, no, guys, this is serious, right? No one is listening to him. They're just like laughing at him, right? And this probably feels like in real life, a lot of times our dreams are reflective of how we're feeling on the outside in real life. So if the audience is laughing at him, he probably feels like the world is laughing at him, right? I think back to the birthday party where the person was like, how's it feel to be a loser, right? Like, feels like the world is laughing at him. He's trying to make it work. People aren't helping him. He's doing it by himself, and the world is just laughing at him. And then he wakes up. Intense dream. Then we go to Al-Anon, which, like, I had a yes, I told you so moment in the Al-Anon when we talked about the restaurant being a metaphor for his family. He came out and said, I was like, therapist win. He came out and said, like, I think I was trying to fix the restaurant in hopes that, like, I could fix things and fix my whole family. And what else did he say? He talked about he thought he knew Mikey. I think a lot of times when people die by suicide, they have this feeling of they thought they knew the person and they missed it, and so there's like feelings of guilt that come with that of I should have done more, I should have known, right? And so he talks about his experience of, you know, Mikey pushed me out of the restaurant, and so as a big FU, I decided I was going to be the best. I was going to show him, I was going to stick it to him that like I could do it. And then all of a sudden time flies by and we're losing contact with Mikey, and then Mikey complete suicide. And so we see later on in that conversation with Richie, he's like, I should have, like, I wasn't here. I didn't know. I thought Mikey and I were close, but then we weren't close. Like, what did I miss? There's a lot of guilt I think he feels from Mikey's suicide.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from. I see, yeah, I mean, he feels so guilty because he took the high road, which in real life, when you take the high road and you end up being successful, sometimes there is a lot of guilt with that, because then you come back and visit home or visit wherever you left from, and you see they still haven't moved, but you have. I think that's where a lot of that guilt came from in his mind, is I did things with my life, even though he did admit that he didn't have friends, stuttered a lot, was the quiet one, but look at him move. Whereas, how did they explain Mikey? Loud, in your face, present, always there, and he didn't move. You'd think the opposite. You'd think if you're loud, outspoken, in your face, you'd think you'd be the one to succeed in life. And not saying he didn't, but he didn't move.
And I think too, there's so much to unpack with this, because Carmy really wanted Mikey's approval. I just wanted him to tell me good job.
Doesn't everyone?
And he never did, right? But I think he did in the way at the end of the episode when we see the note of like, let it rip. Like, I know you, essentially Mikey is saying, I know you've got this. Like, you can do this. And so there's that piece. And I think there's also a piece of like this guilt for not seeing it. People only show you what they want you to see many times, right? With Mikey, I think he was putting on this big show of like being loud and being everyone's best friend, for masking probably how incredibly sad he was actually feeling on the inside. Ooh. How chaotic he probably feels. So many people do that. And I think a lot of people feel guilty because they should have seen, they should have been able to stop it. But when you are sick, right, when you have an illness, and whether it be mental illness, and you don't show people that, and you're masking it with drugs, you're numbing it with drugs, people aren't going to see it. They're only going to see you like being the life of the party. And so it takes people by surprise when those people end their life, because you don't see it. And so there's this guilt of like, I should have done more, when if that person is not wanting, ready, or willing to talk to you about it, there's nothing you can do about it. And I think that's a hard part about mental health.
Yeah, that is. I didn't look at it that way. I just looked at it as he was loud. Mm-hmm. He was present. He was in the moment. He was having fun with his life. But still at the same time, he wasn't going anywhere. And maybe he pushed his brother away because he didn't want him to be like him.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, subliminally, he was like, if I tell you to fuck off and to run away and to go be this extraordinary cook that you are, then do it. You don't need me. You don't need my permission. You don't need to stay where I'm at. Mm-hmm. And so when Carmy did that, and Carmy also said, like, they speak through food. You know, his food is his creativity. That's how he speaks to people. If it's great, awesome. You know, like, that's how he does it. And that was his language with his brother, was food. And mm-hmm. that kitchen means a lot to him.
Mm-hmm. I think in many ways, Mikey was trying to protect Carmy by not allowing him inside that restaurant. And then when we don't know when, so at the end of the episode we see all the money in the sauce, right? The secrets in the sauce, right?
Yes. Oh. That's a good one. The secrets in the sauce.
Yeah, I thought about that. I was like, the secret's in the sauce. Literally, the secret is in the sauce. Interesting. But I think, you know, Mikey left that note, right, to clue him in that there's money in the sauce, right? Another way that he is protecting him, right? I've handed you this. I know that it's not good. It's not going well. The ship is sinking. But I've got this like nest egg for you to make something of your own, right? Let it rip. Do your thing.
And then he messed up and left one can behind.
He left one can behind, which I'm not really sure what it means. But with
it'll
that
save
money,
him in the end.
in that money, he's closing down the beef and opening the bear, right? Mikey is like protecting him and like amplifying his goodness and trying to like pull himself away. I think in many ways Mikey was trying to protect Carmy, but Carmy saw it as like, you're leaving me behind. Like these fears of abandonment because I don't have friends. You're pushing me out of the like kitchen, and then you go and you end your life. I'm left behind. But
and then he self-destructs and ends relationships and ends everyone that comes within contact with him, and he is then alone.
Yes, in some ways he definitely is self-sabotaging by not reaching out to Mikey. He didn't reach out to his sister. That's a rocky relationship, right? He didn't come home. He sought out to be the best, and he became very good. I don't know about being the best, but he became very good.
Yeah.
So much so that he picked up Sydney along the way, right? She went to New York, spent all of her money eating, and her favorite meal was Carmy's, which is why she came to work for him.
And then she went back. Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot. What really made me mad in this episode was when Richie punched that guy and almost ended up in prison for manslaughter. Luckily did not. Got aggravated assault, which is still bad. None of that is good. But in the end, Carmy was there. Carmy was sleeping on the bench waiting for him, and he didn't move. He didn't leave. But what made me mad was when Richie got in the car after he did his one phone call to his baby mama that did not pick up. He realized, you're all I have. I don't have anyone, and that's it. And instead of embracing that or saying, thanks, dude, or I don't know, cool, bro, like any of that, he was just like, are you good? Like, he didn't acknowledge his emotions. He didn't let him be. And I think that's why Richie is so pent up, because when he does express his emotions, or when he does give you that little bit of light of who he is, the show shuts it down. Or the people, not the show, the people shut it down. And it's like, well, no wonder he's this big ball of anger. I would be too if I never get to tell someone you're the only one I have in my life, or to say thank you, or any of that. Because I feel like in the end of that entire scene, just that little snippet, Carmy should have been the one to say thank you, because that could have ended up very bad. I mean, the guy could have stabbed Carmy. You know, the guy could have done anything. Obviously, he won't. The show's called The Bear for a reason. But something bad could have happened to Carmy. And instead, Richie took it, and it happened to Richie.
Yeah, I think though it's a overarching theme of Richie always taking things too far. Right?
But he didn't.
He hit the guy so hard he hit his head, and then had to, right? Like, there are many ways to like break up a fight. I don't know. I've never been in a fight, but but like, you know, Richie always takes it kind of one step too far. And I understand that he was trying to save, like, get Carmy's back, but it's always like a step too far with like the guns. He's used to dealing with the Chicago Mafia, right? He's got his guns. It's probably not his first fight. Yes, physically. Mentally, I think this man is very fragile.
100% with mentality, but I don't think he meant to knock the guy as hard as he did. Because if you watch it, Carmy ran in first to separate everything. Because Richie was like, oh, what do I do? And then once Carmy ran in, that's when Richie was like, okay, let's do it. And it took that one hit.
Yes, I think it's a highlight of how Richie doesn't understand the impact of his actions. And Carmy used his little 2-week nest egg to bail him out, so that was a thank you. And I agree, there was the moment in the car where they could have been a little more in tune with their feelings. I think that has to do more with like how men are socialized to not express feelings and don't know what to do with that when like someone becomes emotional. So I don't think Carmy knew what to do. I think he was like, I just want you to be okay so that like I'm okay kind of situation, because I'm uncomfortable with your emotions and I'm uncomfortable with my own emotions. So go to therapy for that. Therapy can help you like be calm and in tune with your emotions so that you are more comfortable so that you can be there for your friends as well as yourself. Because it's evident that Richie is really struggling, right? He's feeling sorry for whatever he's done in the past to his baby mom. It's very unclear of like exactly what that was, but he's apologizing, right? He's kind of had like this come to Jesus moment that he could potentially be going to jail for life for manslaughter. Got off really lucky of just aggravated assault. Right, because it was an accident. There was no ill intent. It was trying to break up a fight so they didn't destroy the restaurant, but it ended up really bad. And that's such a pattern with Richie, is like he doesn't have ill intent, but he just doesn't think about his actions, and then it like fucks everything up.
Yeah.
And so then Carmy comes and bails him out, and they don't know what to do with their emotions in the car.
Yeah, I agree. Let's talk a little bit more about Sydney and Marcus. That scene just threw me for a loop. I was not ready.
You're not ready. I think they're like comrades now because they both quit, right? They're both like, we want to work in a restaurant, but we both can't keep working in this way. Which, you know, Carmy from the last episode was not behaving in a way that was productive.
Yeah, but I just didn't like. I felt like every time Marcus would talk to her or have a story or like a question or anything, you could feel the guardedness in Sydney. You could just feel Sydney being like, okay, like calm down, you know, like just kind of like really protective of everything she's saying. I don't know, I'm beginning to not like that character.
I think there's so much we don't know about her, and especially Marcus, because Marcus there, I don't feel like there's a whole lot of backstory with him. He is, like you said, a man of few words.
Yeah.
But
It's about his donuts.
he loves his donuts. But yeah, with Sydney, there's she's not as confident in herself as she could be. She's obviously good, right? She's good at what she does because that food critic was like, that's really good. And then Marcus tasted her food and was like, damn, that's really good, right? So she's got the skill.
And guess whose it was?
It was Carmy's, right? I don't know if that meal was Carmy's, but her favorite meal that she had, was it? So her favorite meal, like, so she's able to replicate something. So she's proving that she's just as good as he is. And so I'd be interested to see how that, I'm hoping that she can build her confidence in who she is in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And be able to assert herself and her ideas more confidently rather than like fluttering over her words.
Yeah, I just want her to be confident and to just know what she wants and say it, not just to Richie, but to Carmy. Let's talk about how she came back, which is, and so did Marcus, because they realize that's the best. It's the best kitchen right now, family-wise and learning-wise, that they can get into. And once again, Carmy said, I'm sorry to Marcus, but then when Sydney walked in the door, they gave each other
in a text message. You missed that part. They said sorry to each other.
But it's more personable when it's face to face.
Well, again, men and their emotions.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, you could tell when she walked in, she was like, am I welcome? Do you need me? What did I walk into? Because she missed a big, in my eyes, a big family thing that just happened. And you know, she
That's
just
kind
was
of
like,
her thing though, coming in at the 11th hour. She did that at the restaurant, and now she's doing it again when she's coming back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's this sense of like, again, her confidence of like, do I belong here? When it's like, it's been made clear that you belong here.
But look how big of a step Richie took when he was like, "Get in here." You know what I mean? He
Mm-hmm.
could have stabbed her. He could have been like, "Get out!" Like,
Mm-hmm.
you stabbed me in the
Mm-hmm.
butt. Like, bye bye. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I think he going to jail was his come to Jesus moment of, I'm hoping that he will be able to learn and be more aware and work on his anger and his fragility, and he hopefully he's turning over a new leaf between him and Sydney.
Yeah, this is a lot. Let's take a small dive into that note.
Oh, the note. Yes, I think.
Tell me what it said one more time.
So it said, "Let it rip. Love you. Let it rip."
Love you. How
I
heavy
think
is
it
that?
said.
I don't
Love
think it's the
you.
let it rip. I think it's the love you. Because
Was it
in
love
the
you?
Illinois,
Love you, dude. Let it rip. Okay. Yes. So it
mhm,
says, "Love you, dude. Let it rip." Right. So in this
love
message,
you.
he's getting two things: one, confirmation that he was cared for by Mikey; two, confirmation that Mikey was confident in Carmy's ability to be successful. Right. So he, such a small note but so impactful, right? And he's like, "Fuck you" to Mikey, right? Like, you put me through the fucking ringer, and here you are giving me everything that I need in this moment to be confident, to
Yeah.
know where I stand in that
Yeah, it was
relationship.
very emotional.
It's so emotional. And then on the back, I think it was Mom's spaghetti recipe. Was it Mom's? I know it was a
I
spaghetti
think it said
recipe.
family.
Family
Yeah.
spaghetti recipe. And it was like, the secret was literally in the sauce. I just think that's so funny. Um, but it was like, the small cans are better, right? Like, go here. I've left you this secret. Why would I give you the family recipe? Obviously, you know it. But then some things like, okay, well, I will go and make this family recipe for this family that I have created. And he finds the money that Mikey is left behind for him
Yeah.
to start his new adventure.
Which brings me to another question. Who was the tomato distributor? Because you have to, those cans were sealed. So,
It was so thought out, right? And my thoughts go to, he was struggling. Mikey was struggling to make ends meet. There was a conversation about the napkins between Carmy and Tina, right? There was no point. But yet you had thousands and thousands of dollars, which makes me think that, he was probably planning to not be around for a really long time and wanted to leave Mikey as, it's fucked up but also very sweet. And, he was planning to leave, to kill himself. But he also wanted to make sure that Carmy was taken care of.
very hard topic to talk about, audience, for those that are listening.
Trigger
But
warning?
suicide is a thing. Did you say we're watching?
Trigger warning?
Trigger warning, yes. But yeah, a lot of people take care of the ones they love before they leave this earth. Because Carmy is struggling mentally right now with the whole deal. I mean, he said it in his speech. He said it several times. He shot himself on the bridge. But now emotionally, on the business side of it all, he is not struggling anymore. And I think that's going to be a huge weight lifted off of him. So I wonder if we'll see a more calmer, happier, a little bit of a relieved side of Carmy because he knows his brother took care of him when he didn't see it.
I think that is definitely one of the warning signs of. It is one of the warning signs when people are thinking about suicide, is that they do tend to plan. However, for me, that was so much money, right? So that had to have taken. We also don't know how Mikey got that money. It could have been from the drugs selling. It could have been from who knows what. The loan from Cicero, who knows, right? But that just didn't happen overnight. A lot of times suicides can be planned. People can change, like update their wills and things like that, and that might take a little bit of time, but that is a lot of money to stow away. So yeah, I don't know. There's something like, I'm not saying it's not possible, but I feel like it's more of a rare occurrence that much time has gone by that he had thought about suicide for that, like was making the plan for that long. A lot of times people will begin to make the plan and then not, or like go through with the plan or double check their insurance policies and things like that before they commit suicide. But that had to have been like a year or more of planning. I mean, I'm not saying that's not impossible, but that feels a little bit of like a drama on the TV screen kind of situation.
Yeah. Well, as we wrap this up, I cannot wait to see what season 2 brings us. Because like I said, we both hope to see Richie coming to Jesus moments, being happier, understanding that like don't take life for granted, seeing that Carmy is hopefully going to be a little less stressed due to now Mikey has come through with the money. And with that being said, hopefully he takes the time to be a teachable chef and to teach Sydney and Marcus about the donut / food life. So yeah, stay tuned for season 2, episode 1 of The Bear for next time.
Yes.
We will also be talking about other TV shows. So if you have any other shows you want us to debunk and break down and see why people are doing what they're doing, leave us a comment.
And this has been Reality Check. Just because I'm a therapist doesn't mean that I am your therapist. So make sure, especially with a heavy topic like this, we talked a lot about suicide. Making sure that you are taking care of yourself and reaching out to the resources that you have available to you. A quick Google search, therapist near me. Therapy Den is also another one of my favorite websites. We'll link those in the show notes. And make sure that you give us a like and subscribe. Tell your friends.
Bye.